Veggin with Mr. Klotzman.
Well, hello! Welcome to Veggin with Klotzman. I'm Ian.
And I'm Tamara.
And this is Batman, and welcome back to our kitchen. Today we're going to be covering tofu. Now, I've heard a lot of people say they don't like tofu because they don't like the way it tastes. But that's just weird because tofu tastes like whatever you put around it. So today we're going to be covering some neat ideas on ways to flavor your tofu, ways to cook your tofu. We're going to go over 2 different ways that I like to make tofu. But before we do anything, we have to press tofu. Tofu is filled with water whenever it's packed and sealed. So you need to get all that water out so you can let all the flavor go in. But before you do anything else, make sure that when you buy your tofu, you get extra firm tofu for these recipes. They have some other tofu, silken tofu, less firm tofu. I always go extra firm because that's the way I like it. All right, let's get the pressing. Okay, so here we have 2 blocks of the soy stuff. Remember, extra firm. Now, right out of the packaging, it's going to taste pretty sad. So, this next step is incredibly important. Do not skip this step. Squeeze your tofu. So, we have 2 different ways of doing it. I have a tofu press over here that I bought off of Amazon. And then we have the layman, like I don't buy a whole lot of tofu, I don't want to spend a lot of money on it, way of pressing. So first I have just a plate, then a towel. I then grab some paper towels. And I'm going to put the tofu right in the middle of the paper towels and then make a tofu paper towel sandwich, like so, okay? While I'm doing this, Tamara is going to put her tofu in the tofu press. And you'll see how much easier this is. So, if you end up really enjoying making tofu, you might want to invest in a press. Okay? Now, she's putting this in, she's lining it up. All you have to do is follow the manufacturer's instructions. Now, I have my tofu sandwich with a paper towel. I'm going to take another towel and place this over. Why so many towels? This tofu has a ton of moisture in it, and we want to get it all out, and we want it to kind of go into the towels. You will be washing these towels, don't worry. Now, Tamara has hers in the press. She's put the pressure to the tofu. We're going to show you what to do here in a second. Now, grab your heaviest skillet. I have a cast iron skillet, and put it right on top, and kind of balance it on there. And then I'm going to grab 4 cans and put them right there, okay? Now, one looks cooler than the other, I know. But if you have a heavy pan and things, you can do this at your house. I think that this does a better job, but this is basically free. Expensive-ish, free. So again, if you're going to make a lot of tofu, you might look into one of these. If you're not, you'll be fine with this. Now, on these presses, now that it's kind of in place, all I'm going to do is tighten it. 4 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to turn it, and now I'm going to walk away. That's right, you don't have to do much. I'm just going to walk away from this. Now, on this one, I'm going to come back every 5 minutes, turn the screws 4 turns, and flip it. This one, just let it sit there, do its thing. Okay? You let this sit for about 20 to 25 minutes. You're going to do this for about 20 to 25 minutes as well. Again, turning the screws every 4 to 5 minutes. Okay? We will see you in 20 minutes.
20 minutes later.
Okay, it's been 20 minutes. Now let's check on our tofu. Tamara is going to take this one out. I'm going to take this one out. So, what we have here is a ton of water all throughout. This plate, I don't know if you can tell, is very dangerous right now. It is filled with water from the tofu. So Tamara's going to take that to the sink. While she's doing that, I'm going to take this one out. Now all the water is in the towels. Again, I do think that the tofu press does the best job, but I'm telling you, putting a big heavy weight on top of the tofu, this is fantastic right here. There's nothing wrong with this. This is ready to go. There's no water dripping out. It is ready. Now, Tamara is unhooking her things, and she's taking it out. And look at that. It's also ready to go. But can you tell the difference between the two? Look how much more water we were able to get out of this one than this one. So this is fine. This one's great. This one is better. So we're going to make two different recipes today. The first recipe is a sticky peanut tofu, kind of something maybe you get at a restaurant. It's delicious. The other one's something I kind of came up with, the tofu steaks. We're going to pan fry those. So I'm going to show you how to cook those and how to cut them first. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to cut, voila, nice and long knife, our tofu steaks. So we're going to take our tofu, put it on its side. I'm going to kind of measure halfway across, okay? About halfway. And I'm just going to let the knife do the work for me. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay? Now, there are people who can probably do this a lot better than me. As you can see, look at that. You see that like that incline? I'm not very good at this, but let me remind you, you don't have to be great at this stuff. This is home cooking. This is fun. So don't worry if it's not perfect. Okay? I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to take about halfway. I'm just going to kind of cut it. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay? Look at that. It ain't perfect. It ain't pretty. But we're not selling this on the market for $300 a slice. We're cooking this at home for our friends, for our family. So, don't worry about perfection. In fact, I think those look pretty good. We're just going to leave those alone. So these are going to be our tofu steaks. Actually, I'm just going to leave this alone. Now, this one we're going to cut into cubes. It's a little different. So, first thing I do is I cut this in half. Okay? Then I cut the halves in half. Okay? Then I turn it. And then I cut that in half. And then I cut that half in half. And I cut that half in half. And voila, you've got the perfect cube for our peanut tofu. Okay? Steaks, peanut tofu. Okay, so we're going to start with the tofu steaks. I kind of made this on my own. You're going to need some hoisin, some sriracha, and then some soy sauce, okay? Now, I don't use exact options or numbers. I just kind of do this as I choose. But I've kind of found out that is 1 part hoisin, maybe half a part sriracha, unless you like it spicy, and I go a whole part, and then 2 parts soy sauce. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little hoisin in first. Yeah, that looks good. It's about 1 part hoisin. I'm going to put in a little sriracha, and this is going to be about half a part of sriracha. That's looking pretty good. And then I'm going to put in 2 parts soy sauce, okay? All we're going to do is whisk this, and I'm going to have Tamara whisk this. And this is, again, for our tofu steaks. Now, while she's whisking that, let's talk about our peanut sauce, okay? Now, this sauce isn't terribly complicated, but it does require some measuring because it is real. So, you're going to need 2.5 tablespoons of the peanut butter. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of the soy sauce. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of the chili garlic sauce. You're going to need 1 tablespoon of lime juice. I'm just going to put the whole thing in because I really like it, but if you want to measure it, that's 1 tablespoon. You're going to need 2 tablespoons of the maple syrup, and then 2 teaspoons of the oil. Teaspoons, not tablespoons. All right, let's get this mixed up. All right, let's talk about marinating. So I have our 2 sauces. This is the sauce that I made, and then we have our soy sauce for the cubed ones, but our peanut sauce is over here. You see it's nice and creamy, so make sure when you're mixing that together, use a whisk and really make it nice. That's going to come into play later, but let's talk about marination. Now again, this tofu right now tastes awful. It tastes like nothing. So let's make it taste like something. So Tamara is going to marinate these just in normal soy sauce. This is the cubed tofu. Nice and easy. I'm going to take the steaks though. I'm going to marinate them in my special tofu steak sauce. I'm just going to pour it over. This is not anything complicated. I want to make sure every little bit gets covered. Tamara's taking care of that. And I'm just going to kind of massage it in on my poorly cut tofu steaks, but who cares? They're going to taste amazing. Just going to make sure every little bit is covered. Okay? Now, when you're doing this, you don't have to use your hands, but I like to. So just kind of get in there, play it around. You don't want to see any white specks. Get the whole thing in there. Is there a better way to do this? Probably. But I like doing it this way. This way is fun. So, we're going to let this sit for about 3 to 5 minutes. That's all it really needs. If you want to let it sit longer, it's only better. But Tamara and I will see you in 3 to 5 minutes.
5 minutes, now.
Okay, so we're going to start with the tofu steaks. These are the easiest things to make. I've got my tofu that's been sitting and marinating for about 5 minutes. I have a pan with olive oil in it, getting nice and hot. Super simple. Once this gets nice and hot, I can kind of see it shimmering. All I'm going to do is take a tofu steak and put it on there and just let it sit. That's it. This is so easy. In fact, it's looking pretty nice to me. So, we're going to take a tofu steak. We're just going to place it right here, right on there. And we're just going to let it sit. Okay? Don't mess with this. If you mess with this, it's going to fall apart. You got to let it cook. Gotta let it get nice and crisp on the outside. Look for that nice singe on the sides and on the back side and all around. And once you see that happening and it's nice and firm, well then you'll know that it's time to flip it. Okay, so it's been about 5 to 7 minutes. Things are starting to look pretty good. I'm seeing a lot of good sear kind of on the sides. So Tamara's now going to flip the tofu. And look at how good that looks. Okay, it's been about another 5 to 7 minutes. Our tofu is looking really good. You can kind of see that everything's got a nice little sear to it. We're going to flip this now and have a look at how good the backside looks. This is ready to go. You can just eat this, as soon as it cools down. You can put a little sauce on it. Now, when you're making this, if you have like a flavor that you really like on your steak, like A1, or there's a marinade you like, I suggest trying it on this. It's really good. Tofu steaks, easy. Let's move on to peanut tofu. Okay, next we are going to make our crispy peanut tofu. This is one of my and Tamara's favorite meals. So first you got your tofu that's been marinating in the soy sauce. You've got a little bowl of cornstarch and you've got your air fryer basket. That's coming back. Now, again, you don't have an air fryer. You can do this in your oven. It's really easy. So instead of having an air fryer basket, you'll have a sheet pan with some foil on it. Spray that down with a little bit of Pam, and you can just do the exact same thing, basically. Just instead of having it air fried, it will be baked, which is just as good, but not as cool. So here we go. This is really easy. You take your tofu, you throw it in, okay? You pump it around, and you put it right in the basket, or you put it into the sheet pan. Make sure you get it all over, get the excess off. This is so easy. I feel like anybody could do this. Boom. Make sure you get every little crevice covered in cornstarch. This crisps up really nice in the oven. Crisp up really nice in the air fryer. Now, if you are going to use the oven, you're going to want to set your oven to 400 degrees, okay? And it's going to be inside the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes. If you want, you can flip your tofu halfway through. I'm not going to because I'm lazy, and I find that you don't really have to. It makes it marginally better if you flip it, but I found that if you don't flip, it's still pretty darn good. So, again, cover all the way. If you're using an oven, put it on a sheet pan with foil. If you're using your air fryer, just right in the basket here. And in the oven, 400 degrees, 20 to 25 minutes. Now, we're going to air fry these for 15 minutes. Takes a little less time in the air fryer. So, about 15 minutes. Again, if you want to flip it halfway through, you can, but you certainly don't have to. We are ready to go into the air fryer for 15 minutes or into the oven for 20 to 25.
15 minutes later, 15 minutes later.
All right, we've taken our tofu out of the air fryer, and boy, it looks really good. It's nice and crunchy on the outside, but still just a little soft on the inside. The texture is amazing. This is going to be so good. Now, we have a nice hot pan. We put it over medium heat. What we're going to do now is my favorite part. We're going to put the tofu in the hot skillet, and then we're just going to pour the peanut sauce over the tofu. And now you take the spatula and just kind of mix it up. Let the peanut sauce kind of adhere to the tofu. Oh, this smells so good. If you don't like peanut sauce, I feel bad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but peanut sauce just ain't one. Oh my gosh, so you're just going to let this kind of cook for a second. You don't want to cook this for very long, okay? If you cook it for too long, it'll get gross. So you just want the peanut sauce to adhere to the tofu. That's all you're trying to do. You're not really trying to make anything overcooked, okay? And once you kind of see that everything's adhered and it's looking pretty good, you turn off the heat and you serve it. And there you have it, friends. We have tofu two ways. We have a tofu steak. We have a peanut crunchy tofu over cauliflower rice. You can put it over any rice you want, or really anything you want. Just get by itself. It's so good. Here, let's get into this. Have a look at this steak. I'm going to cut into the steak. Look how nice that texture is. Oh, man. And the, oh, man. That flavor is amazing. That's so good. Tamara's going to take a bite of peanut. What do you think, Tamara? How's the peanut stuff?
Oh, it's delicious. It's my favorite way to have tofu.
It's so good. It's good, peanutty. It's a little spicy. You can put the tofu. You can put the peanut sauce on the tofu steak. You can put whatever you want. Have fun with it. You make teriyaki steaks. Well, I hope this has inspired you to brave the wild world of tofu. It's delicious. Don't forget, press your tofu, love your tofu, and honestly, just eat your tofu. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. Comment what you would like to see next time. This is Klotzman saying goodbye. I hope you have a nice day.